Hi folks, this is Karim Rao from Untitled channel. Today we'll continue our lab Marvel and DC United. This is the third video. We have been discussing in the previous video the following. We are preparing our first to create our first forest, okay, and then our first domain, which will be Marvel domain, and in this domain we should create the first domain controller. So in the Azure virtual network resource, we have added two DNS IP server setting, two DNS IPs, okay, one for the first domain controller and the second for the second domain controller. I will show you all a small graph discussing this. And then we have created the Marvel domain. We have encountered the problem because the name of the domain is marvel.local was an issue. It was causing a problem, so I changed it from marvel.local to any other name. I have choose something called narc.local, okay, because Marvel, I think there is already an Azure domain or something created on the Microsoft Azure cloud by the name of Marvel, so this made some problems when I was creating my domain with the same name. And then we have created our first domain controller, okay, and then in the Marvel domain, or let's see in the narc domain, okay, and then we have created our first reverse DNS lookup zone. And we have said before, DNS, it's something changes the name of the PC and return its IP address, okay, but as for the reverse, it is the opposite. It takes the IP address of the machine and returns the name, okay. So we have created our first reverse lookup zone, and then we had a problem adding the wins role on the first domain controller. There is an issue. I have searched the internet. I think there is an issue concerning adding a wins role in an Azure cloud setting or Azure cloud domain, okay. This was briefly what we have discussed in the previous video. I can show you all a little small of a graph to show you the network of our Azure. Here is our first of all, we need to know that all of these icons are configurable, and they are Azure items. For example, this is Azure virtual machine configuration item, okay, so this can be configured. And then we have Azure firewall configuration item, and then we have Azure IP address configuration item. This is everyone, its name, it's very clear. And then we have Azure network card configuration item, we have Azure subnet configuration item, we have Azure IP address space configuration item, and we have our Azure gateway, okay. So first thing we have created something called the resource group, and we have named it Marvel domain. And then after that we created our first IP address space, which is 192.168.0.0/16, okay. We will create two networks or two subnets under it, okay. And in this virtual network configurable item, we have added two DNS servers, 192.168.1.4 and 192.168.1.5. so any subnet under this IP address space will take or will be given the DNS servers to be 192.168.1.4 and 192.168.1.5. so here we have our first subnet, which is 192.168.1.0/24. This is our Marvel IP range, okay. Here our workstations will take from this range, and our servers will take also from this range, okay. We will have two domain controllers. The first domain controller, this is the network card for this first domain controller. We will name it DC Marvel 01, okay, and this is the name of the network card for DC Marvel 01, okay. And then we have our virtual machine DC Marvel 01, its IP address 192.168.1.4. and then we have some firewall rules created on this virtual machine. For example, allow RDP protocol and port to allow remote access to virtual machine by either public or private IP address using the remote desktop connection, okay. This is thing, and this is the DC Marvel IP configurable item. We have here that we have two IP addresses. One will be a private IP address and the other will be a public IP address. The public IP address, it is assigned dynamically. it will change every time the virtual machine powered on and powered off. And as for the private IP address, we have assigned it to be statically. Okay, so this is the virtual machine, this is the firewall rules, this is the IP setting for the virtual machine. We have two IP addresses, this is the network card, and then in the upcoming videos we'll create another virtual machine. It will be the second domain controller. This is Marvel 02. We have the same firewall rules like the other one, and then this is the IP address. Okay, we have private and public as I said before, and the same applies, the same rules. Okay, and then we will create a gateway. Okay, this gateway will be 192.168.2.1, and anyone that tries to get to the internet through this gateway will be giving another subnet or another IP address which begins with 192.168.2.0. okay, so this is briefly the network diagram for the Azure Cloud or the Azure Lab that we are working on. This is concerning only the Marvel domain. We will have another one for the DC Comics domain, and we can have another diagram more general. Okay, here we can see that we have my laptop, and then this is I access the Azure portal. We have just a minute. So here we can see this is the laptop, and this is accessing the Azure portal. We have the configurable items as I said before, the Azure virtual machine configuration item, the Azure IP address configuration item, the Azure subnet configuration item, the Azure firewall, the Azure network, the Azure IP address space, the gateway. All of these are configurable items through the Azure portal page. Okay, and then as I said before, when we access Azure, we have our lab or our virtual machines are created on the Microsoft Data Center region US East. Okay, this is the data center that we have created our domain and our resource group and our virtual networks. All of these are created in the US East data center region for Microsoft. And here is our domain. We will have two domain controllers with the IP addresses. Okay, and this is the subnet for this network. Okay, so these two are under this subnet. Okay, and we have our gateway, and this is the subnet for the gateway, and this is the address space as a whole. So we have two subnets from this address space, and we have configured this address space to deliver DNS server IP addresses to both gateway to both subnets to be 192.168.1.4 and 192.168.1.5. Actually, this will be a problem for this gateway, because this gateway should have another DNS. It will not work with this DNS. Anyway, when it comes to it, we will have a different configuration for the Azure gateway. Okay, and then as I said before, the laptop and the Azure portal is considered a front end. This we can see and we can interact with it, and the data center and all these virtual machines and virtual networks and virtual machines additional to the data center, this is called a back end. Okay, so we can't see all of this. This is done in the background. We have only the laptop and the Azure portal page, so we can see everything through them. This is the front end, and everything is been worked or implemented in the background. This does not appear for us. Okay, this is called the data center and the virtual machines, and all of this is called a back end, and the laptop and the Azure portal is called the front end. Okay, so this is briefly two things we were concerning this lab. So concerning the previous video, so this video will begin configuring our first we will create our Active Directory or Marvel domain Active Directory users, groups, computer objects, server objects, group policies. Okay, and a lot of things. So let's begin now. Here we will begin. So we will access the portal page for Marvel, and then for Azure, and then we'll power on our virtual machine. So I said before, the public IP address is changed every time you power off and power on the virtual machine. So take care of this, because it's dynamically assigned. You can see here that my credit is decreasing every time I access the portal. So this means that even though I have my virtual machine powered off, there is still some additional cost applied to me or deducted from me, because there is some items you will be charged for it even though it's your virtual machine is powered on or powered off. So here, as I said before, you can see that I have a problem accessing the virtual machine because the IP address, this is the old IP address, it ends with 153, but there is another public IP address assigned to this virtual machine which ends with 0.125. So here we can see this is the new IP address. The one that I am trying to connect now, it is the old IP address or old public IP address. Okay, this is not the correct one. So take care always that take care of the IP address or the public IP address. So anyway, here I will access with my local administrator account for this virtual machine or this server, and we should disable this account, and I will show you in a couple of minutes how we can disable it, and we will create another account and use it instead of this account. Okay. So anyway, the first thing that I need to do is to copy my I have a folder that contains all of my scripts and group policies and everything. This folder I will use or contains all my scripts that will automate the process or will automate the process of creating the users, groups, computer objects, computer servers that will be on the Active Directory. So I am using scripts to automate the process of creating of Active Directory users, groups, computer objects, servers. All of these are through using PowerShell scripts. So here I'm just copy the folder, and then it's a simple process of copy and paste, and I need to put it on a place, okay, that should not disappear or should not be taken from me. As I said before, we have two type of hard disks when you are working with the Azure. We have one permanent hard disk and the other is considered a temporary hard disk. Okay, so we have a permanent hard disk and a temporary hard disk, and I'll show you all that you should not put any data you need to be permanent or to be there always, not to put it on the temporary storage drive. I will show you all that there is a message. I will open this drive for you, and I will show you that there is a text file warning you not to put anything on this drive because it should be taken from you anytime. Okay, this is a temporary storage. Okay, so here we can see that here we can see this text file. It's data loss warning readme. You can see that in this text file it is asking you, or it is telling you, okay, in different languages, okay, in English I think, and in maybe in German and in Chinese. You will see that, yes, it's in Chinese and in English. Okay, it's saying this is a temporary disk. Any data stored on this disk is subject to loss and there is no way to recover it. Okay, so you do not put any personal data or application data on this folder. Anyway, I just need the scripts to be applied only once. I don't need them for a long time. I'll just use them and then I can delete them after that even. Okay, so now in our lab here, or in this video, we are preparing or we are creating our Active Directory for the Marvel domain. Okay, we are creating the users, the groups, the computer objects, the server objects, the different setting, okay, concerning the Active Directory. So here the first thing we need to do is to I think we need to open the PowerShell. Okay, before that I have told you before that instead of having a lot here, you can see at the bottom that we have the DNS console and the group policy console and the Active Directory console. So we have here 4 or 6, we have 4 consoles or 3 consoles. If I am using them all, I will open 3 windows and work with 3 different windows and 3 different configurations and 3 different applications. Okay, so to make this more easy, we will open the start and then run and then type mmc and then put all of them, the DNS, the Active Directory, the group policy, all of this will be in one window, in this window. And can we configure, or we can configure all of them from one window. Okay, instead of working with 3 windows, okay, and 3 applications running in the same time, so, and you need to go from here to there. Now we will put them all in one window and we configure them all in one window. This is called a console. We will create a custom console and then we will add all of our needed items to be configured on this server. We will add it in this console and then begin working from here. Okay, and we'll give this console a name. I have done this before in the DC Comics lab and the Transformers lab, but this is a very good way to centralize all of your tools in one place. Okay, so here we will add the Active Directory. And then we will add computer management. I needed some time, and then I need to add the DNS and to add the group policy, and sometimes I need to add the event viewer as well. If there is any problems happening with this server, I need to check the event viewer. We'll have the group policy management console. Okay, we will add the services. If there is any services not running, I need also this to be in the same console. And then if later we add the DHCP, we will add also this DHCP to this console. Then we will save or give this console a name and put it on the desktop. So we name it Marvel Console, and then we leave it on the desktop. And then I think now we will begin our first PowerShell script. Okay, this is the group policies that we will work in this domain. Okay, and here we can see this is let me show you all. This is a group of ready made group policies. I have collected some group policies. Okay, you know that the group policies have an extension of ADMX. Okay, so the group policy of Windows, okay, ends with the extension of ADMX. Okay, and if you need not only to manage the Windows setting through the group policy, you can manage also the Firefox setting, the Chrome setting, the classic shell setting. A lot of programs you can manage them also through the group policy by getting their specific group policy files. What I mean by this, that the Google Chrome has some group policy files, okay, on their website. You need to get them and put them in your folder that contains the Windows group policy. Okay, so you will have the Windows group policies and then the Chrome group policies, and you have to go to the Firefox website and get the group policy files for them, or the ADMX files for the group for the Firefox, and take them also and add it in the folder that contains the Windows group policies. Okay, so you can manage not only the Windows setting through the group policy, but you can manage a lot of programs, okay, through the group policy, but you need to get their group policy files. Okay, as I said before, every program or every known program has created group policy files that will work with your Windows environment. Okay, so this is a group of group policy I have collected. They contain group policies for Firefox, group policies for Google Chrome, group policies for Classic Shell, group policy for Office 2016. So all of them are in one and also this contains group policy for Windows. So this is a group policies or a bunch of group policies in one place. We will take a copy of them and then we will create what is called group policy Active Directory group policy central location. Okay, what is this type, or what is this expression? I will show you a little graph here. Okay, what we mean by this, let's consider that we have for example 5 domain controllers. One will contain Windows Server 2008, and then another one contains Windows Server 2012, and then another one for 2016, and the last one is for 2003. Okay, and we have the latest one, Windows Server 2019. Okay, so what is the definition of group policy central location? It's a central location to store all group policy templates file. This eliminates the need for admin to load and open group policy templates files on systems used to manage group policy. Okay, so we can explain this in simple terms. So we can see here, for example, we have 4 domain controllers, and this is the 5th domain controller. So if you need first of all, the group policies differ as the Windows version differs. For example, here Windows Server 2008 contains group policy templates, but Server 2019 contains group policy objects more than that was in Server 2008. So this group policies in 2008 doesn't contain the group policies in Windows Server 2012. Okay, and Windows Server 2016 contains more group policy items than that was created or was in Server 2012. So every time the Windows versions gets updated, the group policy items or group policy templates differ. Okay, so imagine that you are in a mixed environment and you need to have or to configure a group policy. So you need to go to each one of them and configure the group policy individually. Okay, and we have differences between all of these group policies. So for example, if you have Windows 10, okay, and it goes to implement its group policy from Windows Server 2008, so there is some group policies that will not or there is some group policies that will not apply to Windows 10 because this is an older version of group policies. Anyway, we need to have a unified group policy or central location that contains the latest group policy, so that this group policy will apply to all of the latest Microsoft systems. So we'll have, for example, Server 2019. Okay, this will contains the latest group policy. Okay, and we will take by default the Windows group policy are in C Windows policy definitions. We will take a copy. We will go to the Windows Server 2019 because this is the latest Windows operating system and the latest group policy templates. We will go to C Windows policy definitions and take a copy of this folder and go to the sysvol folder. I have discussed this before, and add it or put it in the folder of policies. Okay, so here we have two things, or we have achieved two objectives. First of all, we have unified the place that the group policy will be edited, so we don't need to edit group policy on every server, and we have also guaranteed that this is the latest group policy and it will be applied to the latest Microsoft operating systems. And also I need to have a note, or to tell you a note, the group policy in 2008 in 2012 they have taken the Server 2008 group policies and added to them. Okay, so this is 2012 contains the group policies for Windows Server 2008 and another additional new group policies, and in Windows Server 2016 it contains the group policies of Windows Server 2012 and additional group policies. Okay, and in Windows Server 2019 it contains the group policies of Windows Server 2016 and additional group policies. So it is accumulated, the group policies templates are accumulated. So by technical terms, Windows Server 2019 contains all of the group policies in all of the previous Windows operating systems. Okay, so Windows Server 2008 have a group policy, and then Windows Server 2012 have a group policy that it is taken from Windows Server 2008 and added to them new additional group policy templates, and the same applies until you get to the end. So here we have a centralized location. We have one place only to edit the group policy templates. We don't need to edit them. We don't need to edit them or to edit every group policy on every server. Okay, and another thing, we have not only the centralized location, but we have the latest group policy okay, that will apply to all of the Windows latest Windows operating systems, and this is the accumulated or the latest one, or the accumulated group policy that contains all of the previous group policies additionally to the new templates that Microsoft has created or have added to the group policy templates. Okay, so here is saying this is complete here, that again the group policy store is a central location to store all group policy template files. This eliminates the need for admins to load and open group policy template files on systems used to manage group policy. Okay, here is some benefits of using the group policy central location. Group policy center stores benefits. Just a minute. Okay, let's continue, guys. So here we have group policy central store benefits. Ensure all admins are using the same group policy template files. Loads the same template files from any computer. Makes it easier to manage and update template files by having only one location to update. Reduce template files in the sysvol and reduces replication traffic between domain controllers. Okay, another thing here we need to say that we have more than one domain controller, so there is a replication process that will happen between them, so every one of them will be an exact copy of the first domain controller. And why is this replication happening? Because if, for example, this domain controller or the first domain controller was down, any of the other domain controllers will act, and the domain service will not be down, and they are the same, or they have the exact configuration of the first domain controller. Okay, so to have this first domain controller, its configuration to be exact on all of the other domain controllers, there is a replication process that will happen. Okay, so making a central group policy store, okay, will reduce the time taken for the replication to happen. Okay, because it's already there and it will be implemented from one place, so you don't need to replicate this central store to the other domain controllers. But anyway, I think it will be replicated because the sysvol as a whole is replicated to all of the other domain controllers. Anyway, this is some of the benefits from using or from having a group policy central store. So what is the process of how we can create a group policy central store? We will go to the default group policy templates location, which is in C Windows policy definition, and take a copy of this folder and then open the sysvol folder. This will be in the active directory. Each a shared folder. It's in C Windows sysvol, and then we will go but we will not go to the folder itself. We will go to the shared folder. It is already, the folder is named sysvol and it is shared by the name of sysvol. So we will go to the share name, okay, and then go to the sysvol share name folder, and then we will open the policies folder and add or take the copy of this policy definitions and add it to sysvol folder under policies. Okay, I will show you the moment or show you the process now, but this is a brief of why we are using a group policy central store. Okay, this is the definition of the process and this is the benefits of the process, and I have explained somehow how this process is beneficial. Okay, so now we will go and complete the process. We will take, first of all, we need to okay, let's have something here. This is our group policy collection of group policy. We will leave it here now, or we will not work with it now. First of all, we need to go and create our group policy central store, and then after creating it, we will take a copy of these group policy templates and add them to the sysvol folder policies and to the new group policy central store. I will show you the moment the process, but wait for me. Okay, so now we will access the sysvol folder. We can put the domain name and then we have our sysvol folder. Here it is. Okay, and then here we'll put our central group policy store in this location in sysvol policies folder, and then we'll go to Windows and then to the policy definitions. Okay, and take a copy. Actually, I was a little bit confused because I thought it was in system 32, but it was not. So now we will take a copy of policy definitions. Okay, we'll take a copy of this folder and then put it in sysvol folder under policies, and this will be our new group policy central store. And then we will go or navigate to this folder, and then we will go to our collection of group policies that I have. I will take a copy of it, okay, and then put it in this group policy central store. So by doing this process we have or we can control not only the Windows setting for our workstations and server, but also we can control the Firefox setting, the Chrome setting, the Office 2016 setting, the Classic Shell setting, and even the Adobe. I have the Adobe also group policy included. So now we have created our group policy central store. Now we will begin the process of creating our Active Directory users by using our PowerShell scripts. First of all, the first thing that we need to create in our Active Directory, we need to create the organizational units. Okay, this is the first thing that we need to create. Okay, and this is the organizational units are a way to organize the Active Directory, like you are organizing your data in your Windows by creating folders. So this is the same in the Active Directory. We will create organizational units. So here we will open the PowerShell, and we need to run it as administrator. We'll right click. First of all, I will pin it to the taskbar, and then we need to right click and run it as administrator. And then our first script, okay, I need also to show you all a little bit of a diagram. Okay, so just to simplify things, we are using PowerShell scripts to create our users groups, Active Directory groups, users of Active Directory, groups of Active Directory, computer objects. I need to show you a diagram for this process, so just wait for a moment. Here we can see that the automation process will be done as follows. Here for example we have a script. This is the script, and then it will go to an Excel sheet that contains the organizational unit names and location, and then the script will read from this Excel sheet that contains the organizational unit names and locations, and then our organizational units will be created. Okay, this is the first thing we will create. Our first thing to create, we will create our organizational units. Okay, and then we will create the users. Also, a script will go and read from an Excel sheet. This Excel sheet contains the user's first name and last name and username and the location of this user in which organizational unit this user will be created, and a lot of details for the Active Directory users. This script will run it, and then this script will go and create the Active Directory users from this Excel sheet, and at the end we will have users. Okay, this is for the user. And for the groups also there is a script that will go and see the groups names and location, and then it will create the groups. So basically all of these Excel sheets, the script used to get the name of every Active Directory object and its location. So here the script will get the organizational unit name and location, and then it will implement or will create the organizational unit. And here this script will read the Active Directory user object name and location on different setting, and then it will create the user. And here it will also take the name of the Active Directory security group and the location, and then it will create the group. And then the same applies for the computer objects. A script will go and read from an Excel sheet that contains the computer object names and location, and then it will be created. This is for the servers and this is for the computers. So this is the process in brief. Okay, so all of these scripts have some commands, and then have an Excel sheet that will get from it some data, and at the end the final result will be creation of the groups, the users, the computers, the servers, the organizational units. Okay, and this Excel sheet in common in all of them contains the Active Directory object name and location. Okay, this is basically the common between them all, and additional setting or additional properties differs according to the Active Directory object. Here the security group name, here is the organization unit name, here is the computer name, here is the user name, not only the user name, the first name, the last name, and a lot of things. Anyway, this is just a brief what will happen. So let's begin the process. So first of all, we need to create the organizational unit. Or the organizational units. Okay, so we'll right click. We need to right click on the PowerShell and tell him to run as administrator. Okay, right click and run as administrator, and then we will paste the command or the PowerShell script. And here we can see that if we go to the Active Directory console, we will see that the organizational units are created. In the first video, in the introduction, I have showed you all every Excel sheet that contains every Active Directory object, users, groups, organizational units. So here are all of them are created. I have mistaken, I have begin creating the Active Directory security groups, but we need first to create the Active Directory users before the groups. Okay, this should be done in steps. Anyway, we will press enter. So the order of creation, you need to create the organizational units, then the users, then the groups, then the group members. Okay, for every user. Now here we can see that, to see here that here are the groups. I said before, I have created them according to the location of the Marvel heroes, okay, or the department or the program that will be used, or the share folder. Okay, so I have discussed this also before. So we can see here that there is a group for Guardian of Galaxies, okay, because some of the Marvel heroes are considered to be in a separate group, which is called Guardians of the Galaxy, which contains Groot, Peter, I don't know his name actually, but and also there is X-Men. We will find another group which is called Marvel X-Men, because also X-Men is a part of the Marvel universe and they have a separate group for them. Anyway, well, these are the groups. And we have a Marvel IT group. This will contain the Marvel IT personnel. So here I have mistaken. I will begin using the third script, which will begin putting the users in their respective security groups. But this is an error, because I didn't create the users. I have created the groups and I didn't create the users. So for sure, when I try to use the group membership script, it will not work. Anyway, I will go now and create my users. Okay, so I need to go to another script. So we have called import Marvel users. This is a PowerShell script. So we will tell him to edit and then implement this PowerShell script. We will click the play or the execute, the one with the green play button. Okay, so now we can see that this is the screen telling us, or notification telling us, that every user has been added to the domain. So when we go to the users organizational unit and click refresh, we can see here that we have all of our Marvel heroes are created. Hope Pym, this is I think wife of Iron Man or Tony Stark, and then we have Logan, we have Loki, we have we have Peter Parker, we have Peter Quill. Okay, this is one for the Guardian of the Galaxy. All of them are our famous heroes. We have Bruce Banner, Hulk. Sorry, Bruce Banner, I think for Batman. Yes, Bruce Banner. Yes, yes, Bruce Banner is for Batman. Sorry. As for Hulk, it is another thing. Okay. I think yes, Bruce Banner. Yes. Okay, maybe yes, I don't actually, I get a little bit confused. Anyway, so we have our users created. Bruce Banner, yes, it's for and then we will go and or begin working with our third script that will put the users that we have created from a couple of seconds in their respective groups. So for example, I have Iron Man and Ultron and Vision. All of them will be in the Marvel IT security group. They are members of these groups or member of this group. So now we have created the organizational units, the security groups, the users, and the members of the security groups. Okay, so for example, if you open civilian, we can see that we have some users added to this group, the group of Marvel Civilian, and now we will have the fourth and fifth PowerShell scripts to create the computer objects. By the way, robots, here I refer to them as computers, but here I am just, for the sake of the story, I consider the robots to be computers. Okay, so I have two organizational units, one for the normal computers or PC, and the other, or workstations, and the other is for robots, which are also PCs, but let's consider them as mobile or movable PCs. Okay, so now we have our robots and computers. Okay, so there is some errors saying that you have created an Active Directory computer object twice. Anyway, so now if we go to the robots and right click and refresh, we can see that we have our robots. Okay, and then we right click and refresh, we can see our servers. Okay, and we go to terminals or the PCs. Okay, we can see that you have, so we have created all of our Active Directory objects, users, groups, computer objects. Okay, security groups. Okay, so there is some things to be done here. First of all, in the organizational unit of the admin, I will put all of my IT personnel in here, or move them from the users organizational unit to the admin organizational unit. Here I am adding myself as a user in the admin organizational unit. Okay, and then next, and then I'll put a password. So now we will go to users. Here we have another three groups, another three users will be moved from the organizational unit users to admins, which are our IT personnel, which will be Iron Man and Ultron the computer, and Vision the computer. Vision and Ultron are two versions of Tony Stark artificial intelligent computer. Okay, so we will have Ultron, okay, and Vision and Ultron and Tony Stark. We will add them, or we will move them to admins organizational unit. Why we are doing this? Just to make them different, or not to apply different group policies to this organizational unit. I need my IT personnel to have everything opened for them, and not okay, I will click view and advanced. Sorry, just a moment. Why we are creating an organizational unit for admins? As I said before, just to put my IT personnel in it, and just for the sake of not applying to them all of the group policies that I will apply to other users to restrict their access and configuration, or Windows configuration. Okay, so what I'm doing here now, I am just doing a little process. I will show you also in a graph. Let me show you here. Okay, here when we create our Active Directory, we have some groups that are built in, or that are created by default when you install Active Directory. You have an Active Directory built-in group called administrators. This is the highest group. This can control everything in the domain. Okay, so this is the this is the administrators. This is a built-in Active Directory group. It is by default when you install Active Directory. This is the highest group in the Active Directory. It controls everything. Okay, and then we have another Active Directory built-in group which is called domain admins. This is also a group that have high privileges on the Active Directory. And then we have something called enterprise admins. Okay, this is also a high, or a group that have high privileges on the Active Directory. And then we have schema admins, also that have high privileges or high rights on the Active Directory. So these four built-in by default groups in the Active Directory, we will make our Marvel IT group. This is we have created, and we have put all of our IT personnel in it. We will make Marvel IT a member of each of these built-in Active Directory groups. Why we are doing this? Just to give the Marvel IT group a whole control over the Active Directory, creating and deleting, adding and removing group policies, and so and so. So by putting Marvel IT in these different Active Directory built-in groups, or to be members of these different Active Directory or the most powerful built-in Active Directory groups, here we are giving the Marvel IT a complete control over the Active Directory. And actually, after doing this, we will delete, or we will disable the local administrator password for this Active Directory server, and then we'll begin using our Active Directory users to replace this local administrator account, okay, for the server. Because I said before, local administrators should be disabled and renamed and given a strong password. Okay, this is a security or best practice. So let's go now and begin. So here we'll see the members of the administrators. Okay, it's here we can see that domain admins and enterprise admins are members of the administrators group. Okay, so this is also another thing. We will put our Marvel IT here to be a member of this group, and by doing this we don't need to put Marvel IT in the Active Directory built-in group domain admins and enterprise admins, okay, because they are already members of administrators. Okay, but I will do this. Okay, so you put the IT in the group of Marvel. So you put Marvel IT group in the administrators. We don't need to put them in domain admins group and enterprise admin groups, but I will do this also anyway, because domain admins and enterprise admins are members of administrators. Okay, so here we will put Marvel IT, and then we also will put Marvel IT in the schema admin group. Here I'm just checking enterprise admins. Okay, we will add him also. Here there is some built-in groups. I'm just checking if they are needed, but you don't need to add them or to add anything in it, because there is no members in these groups. We need only the schema admins, and we will put our Marvel IT to be in this group. Okay, so now we have you can see Marvel IT members. We have Tony Stark, Ultron, Vision. I need to add myself or my newly created Active Directory user account, so I will have full control with the rest of them. So now we are 80% ready, okay, or the domain and everything is ready by about 80%. We still have some steps to be done. So we are just checking the group policy. In here we will create about 4 or 5 group policies, okay. We will explain one by one when we come to this step, but I'm just checking. We have only 2 group policies applied now, the default domain policy and the default domain controllers policy. This only applies to the domain controllers. And here we will have a folder that is called backgrounds and scripts. We need to have also a small look about this folder. I need to show you a graph what we are doing, or what the next step for doing this. Just a moment. Okay, here we will, any user created on the Active Directory, in the field of, there is a field in the Active Directory user properties called login script. Here we will attach a login script to every Active Directory user. This login script, it is called mycomputer.bat. This login script will be in sysvol folder under scripts folder, okay, under subfolder core scripts, okay. So this mycomputer.bat will implement some registry keys, okay. So when the user logs in for the first time or with his Active Directory user account on any workstation or any server, or for example any workstation, we will have English and Arabic keyboard layout added, the Cortana search will be hidden, some performance setting will be added, the Cairo and Cairo time zone will be added, and then a program called idle logoff will be added. This program logs off the machine after 3000 seconds idle time not working, okay. So these scripts all are implemented when the users logged in for the first time on any workstation, okay. So how this will be done, as I said before, mycomputer.bat will be in the scripts folder under the sysvol. The whole folder of sysvol, it is shared by default, and this share is hidden, okay. So why it is shared? So the user can access it or reach it, okay. So this is why we share a folder, and then this folder contains, we give it some privileges or we add some rights on it, so the users can be able to run the script, okay. And this scripts, okay, will have some commands tell him to run this registry keys in another folder, okay, which is called background folder, okay. This folder also will be shared. Why we share it? So the users can be able to access these files as well, okay. So Active Directory should have access to the background folder to be able to see the registry files, so the mycomputer.bat can run them, okay. And Active Directory should have right on this folder to run the computer.bat. So basically what we are doing, this script will run, and this script is telling, or this script contains, or this script should run some registry keys which are in another folder, and they are as follows. And this folder and the script or the folder that contains the script, both should be shared. So should be shared so Active Directory users can reach it, and should be shared also so users can access both the script and both the files. And both folders, okay, should have rights. The Active Directory users should have rights on them so they can be able to read and execute, okay. So this is basically, here we can see Active Directory user properties. In it there is something called login script field. We will put mycomputer.bat. mycomputer.bat is under sysvol scripts folder. This folder is shared and is hidden, okay, it is hidden, and the Active Directory users should have right on this folder to run the mycomputer.bat, and then it will go to the background folder to run the registry keys, okay. This folder is shared and the Active Directory users have rights on this folder, okay. This is basically the process of what we will do now. We will have our background, this folder, okay, or this folder will contain the registry keys, okay, that the mycomputer.bat will run, and this also will contains the backgrounds and screensavers and lock screens. So when we configure the group policy, we will tell him to insert or have a default background and screensaver and lock screen, and get them from which place. Where are the screensavers and the lock screens and the backgrounds? It will be in the backgrounds folder. Okay, so let's see this now. So we need to copy this folder and then share it, okay, and give the Active Directory users rights on this folder, at least to be read and execute for both the scripts folder under sysvol and for this folder. I will name it backgrounds, and then we will share it. And here, this is mycomputer.bat. We need to copy this script and put it in here. This is the script, and also there is something with the script here. Also, the script will do also not only running some registry keys, but it will make this PC appear on the desktop, because this icon doesn't appear by default when you log in for the Windows or in the Windows for the first time. It will make this PC icon appear and change this PC text to reflect the computer name. Okay, so these are the first three lines, and then the other registry keys, as you can see here, it's in the background folders. It will add the language, hide the search, hides the search icon, and add the time zone and the performance setting, and run the idle log off program. Okay, so now we will put the mycomputer script in the sysvol scripts folder, which is named by other name netlogin. This is also another name. Okay, so I think no, it will be in netlogin, not in scripts. Anyway, so now we will share this folder, as I said before, so users can run the registry keys and get the backgrounds and lock screens and everything. And now we will tell him permissions. We will share it. We have two share permissions, SMB permissions and NTFS permissions. We will remove everyone. This is the best practice, everyone group, and then we will add domain users. This is an Active Directory built-in group that contains all of our Active Directory users in this group, and we will give him not full control. I think here I am mistaken. You can give him read only and see if this will work. Sometimes maybe it needs change, so you need to give domain users not full control, read, or read and change. Okay, this is for the SMB permissions. And there is another thing called NTFS permissions. We need to give them the same permissions, or the equivalent permissions from the NTFS side. While we are having two permissions, or having two permissions to be added for the same folder, just to increase the security. Okay, just to have like having a lock or a safe lock with two keys. Okay, so this is the basic function for having two permissions, to have maximum security and maximum security and efficiency. Okay, to have two keys for a safe, not only one. Okay, so here what we will do, we will add, I have another created Active Directory security group I have created in my domain, which is called Marvel All Users. This group will contain all of my Active Directory users, the same like domain users, or the default built-in group domain users. The same, it does the same function, or the same members, or they are the same in their functionality. And we will add the group of IT to have full control. So we will give Marvel All Users and domain users change or read, and we will give the IT full control. Okay, while we are doing this, just to make our login script or mycomputer.bat to work. Okay, because the mycomputer.bat need to run some registry keys which are in this folder, and for Active Directory users to access this folder, we need to make it or to be shared. like sharing a post on Facebook, okay, so you can reach everyone. Here we will go to the NTFS or the security tab and then add the groups of Marvel IT, Marvel all users and domain users to the folder, okay. Okay, so now we're adding Marvel IT, the same, we will add the same groups and with the equivalent rights in the NTFS permissions. For example, change in NTFS it's called modify, and this is the only difference. NTFS change is in SMB is reflected in NTFS permissions as modify, okay. So now thank you. So now we have shared the folder, okay. Anyway, so now here I need to do something. Here I need the HOD. Here we can see there is some this is a group that contains the department heads, and in all users, as I said before, I will add all of my Active Directory users or Marvel domain users in it. I didn't do this with the script, so I will add all of them, all of the users. Just a moment. So let's continue, guys. Here we will add all of our Marvel Active Directory users to the group Marvel all users, okay. I think I can just close this Telegram, just a moment, okay. So now we have different users, Logan, and we can see that you have Guardians of the Galaxy, you have Max, and you have Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow, Nick Fury, Pepper, Peter Parker, Peter Quill, and you have Proxima, Robert Dark, Rocket, okay, famous Guardian of the Galaxy, Scott Logg, Scott Summers, Steve Rogers, Captain America, and of course Thanos, and Thor, and Tony Stark, and Ultron, and Valkyrie, and Vision, and Wanda, and Yondu, and Yon. So all of these are the Active Directory or Marvel Domain Active Directory users will be added to the Marvel _ all users. Here is the global share. What is the global share? Here this is a group, okay, that in this group I will put all of the Marvel _ all users. The Marvel global share, it is a group that I will use it to create or to make a certain department share appears for everyone. For example, I need, when the user access for the first time, I need him to see a mapped drive. This mapped drive will be called global share, okay. So to give this user rights to the global share department, the global share department or the mapped global share department, I need to have a group called global share and put this user in it, and then put this group on the folder of the global share, okay. We will see that when we come to it, when we begin creating our department shares, we will see how this group will come in handy, but just take note now, we need to put Marvel underscore or users in this Marvel global share group. So Marvel or users will be a member of Marvel global share. Don't get rush, we will use this group, but take note, okay? I will use it in the department shares mapping group policy, okay? So what I'm doing here now, just a moment. Here we will create a new security group, okay, and we will name it, but just for a moment, we will name it Marvel, okay, robots AI or robot AI artificial intelligence, okay. Why do we need to create this group? So we will have a group and we will name it Marvel Robots AI Users or Artificial Intelligent Users. Okay, what is this group and what is made for? I will show you also a small graph. Okay, just give it here a moment. Here we can see that we have an organizational unit that we have called robots. Okay, so in every department there is some robots. Okay, so we have, for example, front office robots, okay, and we have named them according to special naming convention. For example, here is Robo, this is the first, this resembles or this refers to robot, and Gen 2, this is the generation of the robot, and then FO, this is the abbreviation of the department, front office, and this 02 means it is robot number 2. So we have two robots in the robots organizational units. We have two robots for the front office department in our robots organizational unit, and then we have two for the kitchen. We can see difference that here FO it's K2, okay, and we have the housekeeping robots. We have also HK for housekeeping, KT for kitchen, FO for front office, and then we have IT robots. We have two. We have engineering. Actually, this is more than this. We have a lot of robots, and we have engineering robots, okay, and also it's Eng, okay, and IT, and we have accounting robots, and then we have human resource robots, and we have food and beverage robots and recreation robots. Okay, so just to take a note, all of these robots are actually Active Directory computer objects. Okay, so these are not Active Directory sees them or consider them computers. For our sake or for our scenario, we will consider them as robots, or we can consider them as mobile computers. So why this, or what we are doing here, what we will do, that we will create, okay, a user, okay, for every department. For example, for every department robots. For example, here we will create something called engineering robot AI user. So this is an artificial intelligent user. Okay, we will use it to log on to certain we'll use this robot. First of all, this is an artificial intelligent user for engineering. We will use this user to access only the engineering robots. Okay, so we will go to the tab for this Active Directory user, engineering robot AI, and in the login on the account and then login section, we will tell him to access only these two robots or these two computers for the engineering department. Okay, and the same applies for the human resources robot AI user or artificial intelligent user. It will only access the robots of the human resources or the computers that is considered as robots for the human resources. Okay, so every one of these users will access, or artificial intelligent user will access its respective department robots. For example, engineering robot AI will access the engineering robots, and the human resources robot AI will access the human resources robots, and housekeeping the same, information technology user the same, etc., etc. Okay, and all of these Active Directory users will be in one group that we will call it AI robots user group. We will limit every AI robot user, Active Directory user, to log in to its specific or its respective department robots, as I've said from a couple of seconds. Okay, so this is in brief what we will do. We have, as I said before, robots for every department. We will create an artificial intelligent user Active Directory and limit it to access only the department robots. Okay, we will see that in a moment. So this is in brief. Here is the engineering will access the engineering robots, the human resources will access the human resources, the housekeeping will access the housekeeping, the recreation will access the recreation. So this is what we will do now. Okay, so all of these artificial intelligent robots AI will be a member of a group that we will call it Marvel Robots AI. Okay, so now what we will do, we now go and create, okay, the users first of all. Okay, first, for example, here is the first user that we will create. It's for engineering, robot AI engineering. Okay, and then we will consider this user to be like a service account user. What I mean by the service account user, a service account, it is an Active Directory user that should be online and available 24/7. So this Active Directory user should not be disabled, should not have his user password locked, should not have any password expiry policy, because if it has a password expiry policy, this means that our robots will not work, because they will work by this Active Directory account. This is the only, or this is the user that will be responsible for activating and working, or this user will be responsible for activating and powering on and controlling the robots of every department. So this Active Directory user should be available 24/7, should not be locked, should not have a password expiry date. Okay, should have a strong password, as his password will not expire, and even though his password will not expire, you need to change the password manually every certain period of time. Okay, so this password or this user should be considered as a service account user. All of you know what is a service account. A service account, it is an Active Directory user that are used to operate services, for example, like SQL services, like Active Directory right management services, like firewall services. Okay, so these users are very critical because they run services, and these services should be available 24/7. A service like the firewall should be available 24/7. A service like the SQL should be available 24/7. So these service accounts should always be available, should not be locked, should not have a password expiry date. Okay, because if the password is expired, the user will not operate and it will be locked. Okay, so we will consider all of these robot AI users to be a service account user. So anyway, I will only show you all the first creation of the engineering AI robot. Okay, and then we will have, just a moment here, I'll show you all. We have how much department we have. We have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So we have 9 users. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. We have 9 robot AI artificial intelligent users. Okay, so we have created for the engineering. Okay, and then we will create the rest. Okay, so I can pass it. This is for the this is for what department? This is for the front office. So we can pass this real quickly because we create all of them, the food and beverage, the housekeeping, okay, and then okay, so there is considered, okay, what this is the AI for the kitchen, okay, so I think we have finished here, or still we have another user for what, okay, for the accounting maybe, okay. So now we have, just a minute, so now we have created all of our robot AI users or robot artificial intelligent users. We should put them all in the robot AI security group. Then we will go to the account. First of all, this is for the accounting and the account, and then the login, then the following computers. Then we will add all of the robots of the accounting department. So the robot AI accounting Active Directory user will be able to log in to the robots of the accounting, okay. So we have here, for example, 5 robots or 4 robots in the active, 5 robots in the accounting department. So we'll go to account and then login. So here we are specifying this Active Directory or robot AI Active Directory user or this service account to access only certain computers or certain robots, okay. So we will do this for the accounting, and we have here about 4, okay. So I will not bother you with the details, so we'll do this for all of the departments, okay. So we'll do this here, we just can pass it real quickly because this will be done at the end. Just a minute. So here this is the robot for the AI, okay, for the thing for the IT, okay, and this is for the kitchen. Anyway, so we'll do this for every department, okay. So I think what I will do now, here we are doing something here, just a moment. Here we have gone to the users organizational unit, and we should select all of the users in the organizational unit users. This organizational unit contains all of the Marvel domain Active Directory users, and then we should go to the tab of profile, okay, and attach or tell him in the login script field to use my computer.bat, the one that I have shown you in the graph. So any user, when he logs in, he will see his login script field. He will see that there is a script called mycomputer.bat. He should go and run it to run the 5 or 6 registry keys that we have said in the graph, okay. So by multiple selection of these users, we can edit multiple login script fields one time. So instead of going one by one user and go to the profile tab and edit this field, we select them all and then edit this field once for all of them, okay. So login script and then mycomputer.bat. So now we have and also we need to do this for the admin, okay, because not all of my users are in the organizational unit users, okay. So we will here add also mycomputer.bat. So the next video we will see how the login script will be implemented. We will create in the second or the upcoming video the group policies, the DHCP, a lot of things. I think this video is finished now. So yes, this is finished. I hope this video was informative for you all, and I would like to thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.